Yeah, okay, so this is my remote car starter project I've created. This is a simple circuit I've designed, nothing complicated, just simple analog stuff going on here. Really the only digital portion is the RF transmitter and receiver, which looks like this, that I got from eBay for like $4 or something. And basically how it works is you press one of the 4 buttons on the remote and it'll set lines high on the receiver outputs. So when the receiver lines go high, they turn on transistors, which then turn on relays. I won't go into all details of how the circuit works, but basically when you press and hold the A button, all 3 relays turn on to connect the 12-volt lines to the starter and ignition lines. And when you let go of the button, the starter relay turns off and the ignition relays remain on, and everything turns off when you press the B button. In my car, there's 1 starter wire and 2 ignition wires that I need to connect to according to wiring info that I found online. So that's why I have 3 relays in my circuit. This is the final constructed circuit soldered onto perforated printed circuit board. The relay labeled ACC is actually for the second ignition line, not the accessory line. After the circuit was constructed, I put it into a plastic enclosure that cost me $5. I have the wires going through a slit I cut out, which will connect to the car. And those 5 connections are the 12-volt, ground, starter, ignition, and second ignition. This is the final product after closing the cover. I also included a power switch to turn the unit on and off, but I forgot to take pictures of that. So the next step was to install it into my car. Here you can see I was able to access the ignition lines to make the connections. I used T-tap connectors to tap into the wires that I need to connect to. So I had to use 4 T connectors to make connections on these ignition lines. The 5th connection is the ground wire, which I actually just connected to this screw right here. This is what it looks like after I'd made all connections. So yeah, after that I tucked and strapped the wires and closed the cover. Here I tested the remote starter and it seemed to work perfect. Here I tested it from a distance and again, it works.